We're back.
You're back now.
And we're making something incredible. What do we call these? It's a lasagna. It's
Deep fried Philly cheesesteak lasagna rolls.
What Vanna White said over there.
Deep fried Philly cheesesteak lasagna rolls.
Infused, of course. Now we're going to make sourdough breadcrumb from scratch. First, we're going to preheat our oven, 300 degrees. We're going to cut these nice little cubes. Now you can drizzle a little bit of olive oil if you want, but the point here is to dry them out, not toast them. So don't add too much. Cut these in like nice little cubes or whatever shape that happens to be right now.
Nothing even close to a cube on that table.
You sure?
Yeah.
Pretty good at a Rubik's Cube.
Just a bunch of bread clumps.
Yeah, bread clumps are great. Just want them nice broken up so we can get the moisture out, dry them out. Then we're going to put them in a food processor. Want to bake these at 300 degrees for about 15 or 20 minutes. And then you'll have your own nice little sourdough breadcrumb. You don't have to worry about buying panko or buying the seasoned Italian breadcrumbs. All of that is just filled with garbage and poison too.
Folic acid!
I love bread. And
Stop screaming!
There's a way to eat bread with impunity, I'm going to find it. And boy, have I found it. We're going to make like 9 to 12 of these lasagna rolls here. So we don't need a ton, but the beautiful thing about breadcrumbs is you can put them in a nice airtight container and they will last a hell of a long time.
That's science.
Now that's science. And weed is also wonderful for your body. We're gonna put these in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes and we'll be back and we'll talk less about adultery. We're gonna tenderize this meat a little bit, but we also wanna slap some holes in there so we can get some flavor.
Keep doing that.
Oh, that's actually kind of nice. We'll alley-oop. Now let me show you how to rub this meat. First, I'll take some nice butter. If you want, you could use wheat butter here. No one's going to stop you.
We actually encourage it.
We do. We actually do. I usually like to use my hands and just make a buttery, disgusting mess, but something tells me that Evan will yell at me if I do that. It's not like this is a visual medium anyway. You could do salt, pepper, garlic, onion, however you want to flavor it. If you're going to make a Philly cheesesteak kind of traditional, I would go with those flavors, but we can't do anything like normal people here. So I'm going to use my brisket rub. So we're going to make a nice brisket. We got the brisket rub. We got the butter down. Do a little flip action. Now we're making a mess how I like it. Get both sides. You can pat your meat down dry. You don't want any moisture. Depends how long you've let it sit out, but you should let it get to room temp always, but don't let it linger there. Nothing more disgusting than cold meat. So you don't need to add any more salt or pepper or anything. All this rub has it in already. Make your own rub. If you don't have a rub and you don't have time to learn how to make a rub, I would just go with a little bit of salt, pepper, onion, garlic, and ground mustard. Our meat has been rubbed. Water is boiling. So we're gonna go in with our lasagna. A little bit of olive oil. Beautiful. We'll throw a little drizz in there. Let's throw a little salt, and we'll let that do what it's going to do, which is bend into our water. Now all this stuff is going to bake in the oven for a little bit, so you want to go at least 2-3 minutes less on the noodles for sure, and you want to get a nice sear on your steak, but you don't want to go too crazy cooking it. Oh, that's beautiful fat. We love it. Beautiful. We're going to do 5 minutes on the pasta, 5 minutes on the steak. Really simple and easy. We got a nice high heat here. We want to cook it for only about 5 minutes. So we're going to give it a nice flip. Look at this wonderful color here. Fuck you. That's so good. We like that char. Beautiful. Now we're only going to cook it for 2 minutes on this side. We're going to get it out. We're going to let it rest. Pasta's almost done as well. Your breadcrumbs should be done now. Everything is coming together. Meat is done. You don't want to fuck around with it too much. We're going to make our roux right in this pan, so we're going to keep all of these flavors. Because if you learn one thing about steak here on this channel, it's don't fucking touch it when it's done. Let it rest for 10 minutes. Don't poke it. Don't cut it. Don't squeeze the juice out of it for Instagram. Don't do it. Just let it rest for 10 minutes. Let everything set. Let the proteins and the enzymes set. You'll get a really nice flavor. We're going to drain this lasagna water here, and we're going to let these cool, and then we're going to make a nice little béchamel right in here, infused. of course. We got our steak resting. Don't fucking touch it. We got our lasagna cooling off.
Hands off, you sons of bitches.
Now we're gonna make a little roux so we can make a little bechamel. So we got a 1/4 cup of butter here. We got some European, some wheat butter. We're going to have 100 milligrams in this recipe. We're probably gonna make around 9, maybe 12 little lasagna rolls. So we'll see how many we make and we'll just do the right math accordingly. But it should be right around 10 to 15 milligrams per. So it's a nice little appetizer. If you want 1, you could eat 2, you could eat 4. Have yourself a time. But like any good bechamel, we start with the roux. We have that rendered fat and grease and butter from the steak. We want all that flavor. We're gonna sprinkle in equal parts flour. So we got a 1/4 cup, a little bit more, 1/4 cup and a tablespoon to account for that other fat that we've had in the pan. We're gonna mix this for 1 minute. And then we're gonna get some milk in there. Color is flavor, baby. We got a nice little wet sand going. We're on medium heat. We have 1 cup of half and half. We're gonna add almost all of it here. Almost all of it. Then we're gonna whisk it all up. A minute or 2, we wanna combine it. Look how thick it's getting. We want it to be nice and smooth. That's all that rendered fat in there. I'm gonna go rest of the half and half, or milk upon it. Break up any chunks. You want it to be nice and silky smooth. Now we have some rendered fat in there, so it's gonna be a little chunky, but you should know the difference between like a flour chunky or just some food matter chunky. It should resemble wet sand almost. I know, you don't agree, but it's sandy. Sandy, and then this is about half of our bechamel recipe because we don't need a whole ton. So we want this to be, this is a little too smooth. We want it to get thicker. We're just gonna keep it over the medium heat until it gets nice and thick. We're gonna take it off the heat. We're gonna add some spices, but we really don't need that much because we have it all from the steak. Just gonna add a little salt, a little pep, a little hot honey, a little heat in there, a little bit of mustard, some vinegar. That's it. Not a lot, just those 17 things. Look at that. You can almost, there's some give to the whisk in there because now it's nice and creamy. Look at that. This is a beautiful bechamel. This is everything we want. Take this heat off. We are gonna go in with some apple cider vinegar. We're gonna do a little bit of this fuckery. There's that spoon. That's exactly how thick you want it. You want it to hold its shape right there and not run off. So what's the real lesson here?
Stop banging the pan.
A little hot honey, a little sweet heat. Now we're gonna go in with our cheeses. We got a sharp cheddar, we got a mozzarella. When it comes to the cheese, we could just measure with our hearts. You can use 3 cups of cheese, you could go 2 cups of cheese, you could go 4 cups of cheese. You can fucking, however much of a lasagna you want your intestines to look, that's how much cheese you could add. So we got 4 cups of cheese here, nice mixed cheese. The heat isn't on, but all of this is still nice and warm. All right, our bechamel is done. All right, it's all coming together here, baby. Our steak is rested. We've got our sourdough breadcrumbs. We got a little love for our egg washing station. Lasagna is done. Bechamel's done. Let's cut this up and let's make something delicious. We're just gonna roll them up nice, keep it nice and tight, get them in the egg wash, get them in your breadcrumbs, and then we'll fry them, baby. Boy, oh boy, I don't do a lot of things right. In fact, I do more things wrong than I do right.
You do anything right?
Put a little bechamel on the bottom of the plate here. Lasagna rolls down. Put a little more bechamel on top. These beautiful crispy onions, just to add a little heat to them. They're garlic and pepper, but there's some bechamel inside. So they're only about 10, 12 milligrams. So if you're a big stoner like me, you could eat a bunch. If you're not, you could eat 1 and you don't have to worry about, talking to the goats.
Wow, these are gorgeous.
I know.
Are we just gonna cut in? We're cutting in?
I think so.
Is that the plan? I see you have taken both forks. This is like oh my God, I'm like cutting a cake right now.
Look at that little spiral on the inside. You got the steak.
Little Fibonacci moment right there. Look at the layers. Look at the internal fucking layers.
The layers. I don't know how we're gonna put this in my mouth.
Very delicious.
You're making a lot of noise.
Let me work through this.
Wow.
When you said they were light, it felt like you were lying. It's lighter than it seems, considering it's all fried bread, everything. And steak and cheese, at least for me. Ooh, the cheese. Ooh, a little tangy.
The sourdough.
That's what that is.
Really fucks with you a little bit. You have the vinegar and the bechamel. We've basically erected the perfect monument to gluttony. And
I just really stay here and eat these all.
you should be making your own sourdough or buying it from a fresh bakery.
We don't want any folic acid. It's bad for your seed oil collection.
We don't want folic acid.
Oh, the crunch. The understated crunch of everything here.
You could add some green peppers, some onions if you want. You get crispy onions on top. I like vegetables. A lot of vegetables are just poison. There's only about 4 good vegetables you could eat.
Vegetables are poison! It's all bad!
You heard it here first.
Only eat folic acid! We are not doctors!
And eat your weed. Weed is really important to eat. Please like and subscribe this page. I promise you.
End it, for fuck's sake!
Okay. Evan said I gotta go. I apparently have to go to an HR meeting now. that's what's happening on camera. So I've gotta watch a 17-minute video and fill out a form. So we'll see you next week.
HR meetings were invented for people like you.